Good morning, students. Let us continue with the next topic of chapter number 9, strategies for enhancements in food production. Today's topic is plant breeding for disease resistant. A wide range of fungal, bacterial and viral pathogens affect the yield of cultivated crop species, especially in tropical climates. Crop losses can often be significant, up to 20 to 30%, or sometimes even total. In this situation, breeding and development of cultivars resistant to disease enhances food production. This also helps reducing the dependence on use of fungicides and pesticides. Resistance of the host plant is the ability to prevent the pathogen from causing disease and is determined by the genetic constitution of the host plant. Before breeding is undertaken, it is important to know about the causative organism and mode of transmission. Some of the diseases caused by fungi are rust, example, brown rust of wheat, red rot of sugarcane, and lead blight of potato; by bacteria, black rot of crucifers; and by viruses, tobacco mosaic, turnip mosaic, etc. Methods of breeding for disease resistance. Breeding is carried out by the conventional breeding techniques or by mutation breeding. The conventional method of breeding for disease resistance is that of hybridization and selection. Its steps are essentially identical to those for breeding for any other agronomic characters such as high yield. The various sequential steps are screening germ plasm for resistance sources, hybridization of selected parents, selection and evaluation of the hybrid, testing and release of the new varieties. Some crop varieties bred by hybridization and selection for disease resistant to fungi, bacteria and viral diseases are released. Let us see them in a format of this table. Crop wheat variety Himgiri, resistance to leaf and stipe, rust, heel bunt; brassica, Pusa swarnim, white rust; cauliflower, Pusa shubra, Pusa snowbell K1; black rot and curl blight, black rot; cowpea, Pusa komal, bacterial blight; chili, Pusa sadabahar, chili mosaic virus, tobacco mosaic virus, and leaf curl. Conventional breeding is often constrained by the availability of limited number of disease-resistant genes that are present and identified in various crop varieties or wild relatives. Inducing mutations in plants through diverse means and then screening the plant material. Screening means testing, filtering out the plant materials for resistance sometimes leads to desirable genes being identified. Plants having these desirable characters can then be either multiplied directly or can be used in breeding. Other breeding methods are used as selection amongst soma clonal variants and genetic engineering. What are soma clones? Where the two cells resemble to each other. Mutation is the process by which genetic variations are created through changes in the base sequence within genes, as we have already studied in chapter 5. It results in the creation of new character or trait not found in the parental type. It is possible to induce mutation artificially through use of chemicals or radiations like gamma rays and selecting and using the plants that have desirable character as a source in breeding. This process is called mutation breeding. In mung bean, resistance to yellow mosaic virus and powdery mildew were induced by mutations. Several wide relatives of different cultivated species of plants have been shown to have certain resistant characters but have very low yield. Hence, there is need to introduce resistant genes into a high yielding cultivated variety. Resistance to yellow mosaic virus in bhindi Abelmoschus esculentus was transferred from a wild species and resulted to a new variety called as Parbhani Kranti. All the above examples involve sources of resistance gene that are in the same crop species, which has to be bred for disease resistance, or in the related wild species. Transfer of resistance gene is achieved by sexual hybridization between the target and the source plant, followed by the selection. Next is plant breeding for developing resistant to insect pest. Another major cause for large-scale destruction of crop plant and crop produce is insect and pest infestation. Infestations means they live over there and they damage the crop. Insect resistance in host crop plants may be due to morphological, biochemical, or physiological characteristics. Hairy leaves in several plants are associated with resistance to insect pest. Example, resistance to Jessid's in cotton and cereal leaf beetle in wheat. In wheat, solid stems lead to non-preference by the stem sawfly, and smooth-leaved and nectarless cotton varieties do not attract bollworms. High aspartic acid, low nitrogen, and sugar content in maize leads to resistance to maize stem borers. Breeding methods for insect pest resistance involve the same steps as those for any other agronomic trait such as yield or quality, and are as discussed earlier. Sources of resistance gene may be cultivated varieties, germplasm collection of the crop, or wild relatives. Some released crop varieties bred by hybridization and selection for insect pest resistance are crop brassica, that is rapeseed mustard variety Pusa Gaurav, insect pest aphids, flat bean Pusa Sem 2, Pusa Sem 3, Jessid's, aphids and fruit borer. Okra, bhindi, Pusa Savani, Pusa A4, shoot and fruit borer. So these are the some insect resistance varieties released in the market. Plant breeding for improved food quality. More than 840 million people in the world do not have adequate food to meet their daily food requirements and nutritional requirements. A far greater number, 3 billion people, suffer from micronutrient, protein and vitamin deficiencies or hidden hunger because they cannot afford to buy enough fruits, vegetables, legumes, fish and meat. Diets lacking essential micronutrients, particularly iron, vitamin A, iodine and zinc, increase the risk for disease, reduces lifespan and reduces mental abilities. Biofortification. Breeding crops with higher levels of vitamin and mineral or higher protein and healthier fats is the most practical means to improve public health. Breeding for improved nutritional quality is undertaken with the objectives of improving first, protein content and quality, oil content and quality, vitamin content and micronutrient and mineral content. In 2000, maize hybrids that had twice the amount of amino acids, lysine and tryptophan compared to existing maize hybrids were developed. Wheat variety Atlas 66, having a high protein content, has been used as a donor for improving cultivated wheat. It has been possible to develop an iron fortified rice variety containing over 5 times as much iron as in commonly consumed varieties. The Indian Agriculture Research Institute IARI, New Delhi, has also released several vegetable crops that are rich in vitamin and mineral. Example, vitamin A enriched carrots, spinach, pumpkin, vitamin C enriched bitter gourd, bathua, mustard, tomato, iron and calcium enriched spinach and bathua, and protein enriched beans, broad, lablab, French and garden peas. These are some varieties which have more micronutrients than their already existing varieties. Vitamin A is good for eyes, while vitamin C is good for teeth and gums. Same, iron and calcium are required by blood and bones, as well as protein is required for normal overall growth. Next topic is single cell protein. Conventional agricultural production of cereals, pulses, vegetables, fruits, etc. may not be able to meet the demand of food at a rate at which human and animal population is increasing. The shift from grain to meat diets also create more demand for cereals, as it takes 3 to 10 kg of grain to produce 1 kg of meat by animal farming. More than 25% of human population is suffering from hunger and malnutrition. One of the alternate source of protein for animals and human nutrition is single cell protein, SCP, that is growing the cells and consuming the cells that are rich in protein. Let us see how they are produced and how they are beneficial. Microbes are being grown on an industrial scale as source of good protein. Microbes like spirulina can be grown easily on materials like wastewater from potato processing plant containing starch, straw molasses, animal manure, and even sewage to produce large quantities and can serve as food rich in protein, mineral, fat, carbohydrate, and vitamin. Incidentally, such utilization also reduces environmental pollution. It has been calculated that a 250 kg cow produces 200 gram of protein per day. In the same period, 250 gram of microorganism like Methylophilus methylotrophus, because of its high rate of biomass production and growth, can be expected to produce 25 tons of protein. The fact that mushrooms are eaten by many people and large-scale mushroom culture is a growing industry makes it believable that microbes too would become acceptable as food. Last topic of this chapter is tissue culture. As traditional breeding techniques failed to keep pace with the demand and to provide sufficiently fast and efficient systems for crop improvement, another technology called tissue culture got developed. What does this tissue culture mean? It was learnt by scientists during 1950s that whole plant could be regenerated from explants, that is, any part of the plant taken out and grown in the test tube under sterile condition in a special nutrient media. This capacity to generate a whole plant from any cell or explant is known as totipotency. You will learn how to accomplish this in higher classes. It is important to stress here that the nutrient medium must provide carbon source such as sucrose and also inorganic salts, vitamin and amino acids, also growth regulators like auxins, cytokinins, etc. By application of these methods, it is possible to achieve propagation of a large number of plants in a very short duration. This method of producing thousands of plants through tissue culture is called micropropagation. Each of these plants will be genetically identical to the original plant from which they were grown. That is, they are soma clones. That is, genetically they are similar to each other. Many important food plants like tomato, banana, apple, etc. have been produced on commercial scale using this method. Try to visit a tissue culture laboratory with your teacher to better understand and appreciate it. Another important application of the method is the recovery of healthy plants from diseased plants. Although the plant is infected with a virus, the meristem is free of virus. Hence, one can remove the meristem and grow it in vitro, that is in laboratory condition, to obtain virus-free plants. Scientists have succeeded in culturing meristems of banana, sugarcane, potato, etc. Scientists have even isolated single cell from the plant, and after digesting their cell walls have been able to isolate naked protoplast, that is not surrounded by the cell wall, only plasma membrane. Isolated protoplast from two different varieties of plants, each having a desirable character, can be fused together to get hybrid protoplast, which can be further grown to form a new plant. These hybrids are called somatic hybrids because no genetic cells are used, only the somatic cells are used, and hybridization is done. That is, the protoplast of two cells get fused and all the desirable characters came together. While the process is called somatic hybridization. Imagine a situation when a protoplast of tomato is fused with that of potato and then they are grown to form new hybrid plants combining tomato and potato characteristics. Well, this has been achieved, resulting in formation of pomato. Unfortunately, this plant did not have all the desired combination of the characteristics for its commercial utilization. This is all about chapter number 9. We have studied animal husbandry, plant breeding, single cell protein, and lastly tissue culture.